All right, today we're going to talk about attacking a wine list at a French bistro. Welcome back to Drinking It In. I am your host, Chris Casara. We are here to help you know more and drink better. And how about that new logo? We're doing a little rebranding around here. It's kind of easy when you have an in-house graphic designer, part of your team. AKA my wife, who did that new logo. So many thanks to her because she captured it. She kind of nailed it on the first go around. So we had dinner recently at Marseille restaurant in Boston, a proper French bistro, and they had a really nice wine list by the glass, really nice wine list by the bottle, pretty focused, which I like. Well organized, which I like, and I figured it'd be good to go through how I attacked the wine list, and even though we stuck to mainly by the glass options, but also take a look at the by the bottle list and go through some of the the thought process of what I would do if I were with a larger party and ordering bottles. So. We'll start with the by the glass list. There were a couple. We started off with a cocktail. I went with a Millionaire, which was very pastis heavy. Pastis being the anise flavored liqueur. It was delicious, but that piece took me by surprise. Wasn't expecting so much licorice. I love that stuff. But I think if you were there and you were hoping for like a little hint of licorice, you'd be disappointed. It is listed as the first ingredient, so it does make sense. The Demon, the jalapeno infused tequila drink got rave reviews from my wife and her friend, who was also with us at dinner. When it came to wine, right, as I look through the list, there are a couple of good sparkling options. I wasn't in a sparkling mood, but when you look, even though it would be weird for me to order Prosecco at a French bistro, really anything from Valdobbiadene in Italy is just a really upscale. Finer version of Prosecco and very, very successful with me in the past. Also, Lucien Albrecht, the Cremant d'Alsace at $14 a glass, I think would have been a beautiful choice. You could certainly go champagne, but it wasn't something that I was considering. So we went into the white part of the list because we had a few appetizers that were light in nature. I love a good Albarino. I love a Sancerre, but I saw the Chardonnay, the Chablis from Domped Frères, their tradition. Now, I don't know if you saw the last video, right? I just got some wine in from Sebastian Dompf at Chablis, some of his single vineyards. I don't know if he is involved in the Domped Frères, right? Domped brothers, right? Because there are a bunch of them. I think there are 3 of them in Chablis, all making wine. But when I saw that, and at $19 a glass, it was a little steep in terms of relative to all the other white wines on the list. But that was the choice I made, and I ended up very happy with it. Just so clean and loaded with fruit, but still having like a nice steely edge to it. I ended up with 2 glasses of that, and that was exciting. When I look at their red wines by the glass, I'm drawn to I'm drawn to a couple of things, right? You have the Chinon, which is a Cabernet Franc from Pascal Alain Leroux. And just a Côte de Rhône is always so easy to match with like whatever foods you're having in a bistro. My wife was curious about the Malbec from Cahors, and we ordered that without a taste, and it was a really, really nice expression of Cahors. Sometimes, if when you, so again, Cahors, which is a region in France, Malbec-based wines. Now, the wines are very different from a Malbec in Argentina that you may be used to. So you have to know that going into it. They can be very big and very tannic, and sometimes very earthy, which wouldn't have necessarily played so well with what my wife loves. But we asked a couple of questions, like, around the fruitiness of the wine, and when it came out, I was lucky enough to get a sip. It was really friendly as it relates. It wasn't quite an Argentinian Malbec, but it was not a big tannic Cahors. So it was right in the middle, great fruit, and not too earthy or gamey. So that was a really nice wine. I like that they do wines of the month, cocktails of the month, so forth. I don't think I actually saw this wine on the list when I was there, because I do, like a nice Chenin Blanc from the Savennières region or appellation in France is a favorite of mine. I don't think I would have it would have changed my my choice, especially because I think it was like 2 days prior that I ended up getting that shipment of wine with the Sébastien Dompt Chablis. But it's something that, as I was looking through this, prepping for this video, I was like, I don't remember that. That sounded like a good option. Okay, so that was how we attacked the by the glass menu. And but now let's say you're out with a group and you wanted to kind of walk through. You wanted to come up with a couple of options that are not breaking the bank, and how would I recommend attacking this wine list, or really attacking any wine list that is mainly French in a French bistro? So, obviously you can get champagne. Canard du Chêne is just a fantastic champagne at $120, $119. Not a crazy markup. That would have been my choice, if we were choosing a champagne. And as far as like criteria, I would say I would not go over. I don't want to go over $120 per bottle. That's sort of it's like a loose rule that I have, whether that's personal expenditure or business expenditure. It just, to me, it feels like going above that ends up being a bit too much. So we'll use that as the upper end. Their pétillant section is basically all the sparkling that are not champagne based. The Lucien Albrecht Cremant d'Alsace, great option. And the other wine that was intriguing to me is a sparkling Chenin Blanc from Vouvray. So I've had a number of sparkling Chenin Blancs from the Loire Valley in France, and sparkling Chenin Blanc can be really good. I have not had the Chateau Moncontour, but at $54 a bottle, I think that would be an easy risk to take. So now let's say you have a bunch of appetizers. You've got some oysters mixed in with some salads and some, we got homemade chips with this like sour cream and onion type dip. Amazing stuff. What white wine would you maybe start things off with? I've talked about the Dompt Frères Chablis. On the by the glass menu, that's obviously a very good option. I think a sneaky option is the 2022 Vignerons de Bouzy Stylex, which is an Aligoté wine from Burgundy. Now, white Burgundy is typically Chardonnay, typically astronomical in price, as you can see by at least the two that are over 100 on this list. Aligoté is sneaky because it's from Burgundy. It's a grape that nobody really understands, and it usually can be had for a song, and they're usually, and I've had very good experiences with them. So that's another one to consider. Several options in the from the Loire Valley, several good options on the other France part of the list, but I would definitely stick with I would stick with either the Chablis or the Aligoté. If my arm was twisted, right, and I had to pick one from the Loire list, I would go towards the Savennière, right? That is the wine of the month, 2019, Domaine Leroux. And if I was forced by somebody to say, well, no Loire, no Bourgogne, pick something from the other part of the list, whether it's the other France or, you know, I guess God forbid, the American part. Actually, the American part, I wouldn't bother with any of those. Not to say that they're bad wines, but you know, for the value that you're getting, you could make 4 or 5 choices from the above selections, and maybe you'd be better off. So, if forced, in the other France, I would give the Domaine de Vieux-Lazaret White Châteauneuf-du-Pape blend a try. If you're familiar with red Châteauneuf-du-Pape from Vieux-Lazaret, you know that they're a reliable producer. The Marsanne-Roussanne blends in the Rhone can be really, really nice. They have a little more weight to them, but I think that would be the direction I would go in. Let's shift to the reds. So you're at Marseille in Boston, which we are going to go back to, which I would recommend that you go to if you're in Boston. Well worth the trip. And they have a parking lot adjacent to the restaurant that validates. Make sure you get it validated, because then you park for free as opposed to paying $40. So let's say you're getting steak frites, or you get some mussels and fries. A lighter, I think you can go either lighter red or bigger red. The wine that catches my eye initially is, as a good value and a reliable option that would be a crowd pleaser, is the 2020 Domaine du Montverrier Laton Fleuri, which is a Gamay from Beaujolais. You know, I love Grand Cru Beaujolais. This wine would be a winner. If you were in the mood for something a little heavier, as I looked at the Bordeaux part of the list, the 2016 Grand Pays Les Cours from Saint-Emilion for $88 just jumped out at me. It's 2016 being a great vintage. Saint-Emilion is just always a favorite of mine from as far as appellations go. So I think that would be a fantastic option to consider if you were in the Bordeaux section. I'd combine the Rhone and the France other section. I wouldn't, for me, I think you go Beaujolais, you go the Bordeaux. Those are the two best options that I see on this list. Now, again, arm twisted. Hey, you know what? You have to choose something from either the Rhone or the other France. The sweet spot that I see here is a 2017 from Gigondas. It's not going to be as pricey as a Châteauneuf-du-Pape. Hello, Chateau Laneurth at $150, and it's going to be just much deeper than a Côte de Rhône. So that one seemed to me, that kind of jumped out at me as a good value and a good choice. Now, last but not least, the American wines or the other part of the world wines, Monde d'Autre, they actually have, they have somewhat ordinary selections, because you see the Prisoner on there, you see Flowers Pinot Noir, Argyle Pinot Noir, but the markups aren't too bad. So if you're a Prisoner lover, right, spending $95 on a bottle of the Prisoner is much more reasonable than I think the $145 you're going to spend at the Capitol Grill, which is the next video will feature, or the next restaurant will feature in this series. The other thing to consider is you can always, as I look at the other list, the last bottle, and the 2021 Alvaro Palacios Camín del Priorat. Now that's a blend of different red grapes from Priorat, Alvaro Palacios, right, is generally a name that if you see on a list, you can buy on the blind, right? I've had a number of his wines, including this one, not this vintage, but including a version of this, or a prior vintage of this wine. We featured the Palacios Petalos Mencia wine on this channel a number of times. That's from, oh no, I'm blanking on the region. Bierzo, the Bierzo region in Spain. You know, now that I take another look at this list, like I would almost go, if you had to pick one wine on the list, it might be that Spanish wine. So, you know, one takeaway that you store in the back of your mind doesn't necessarily always apply to a French bistro, because you won't necessarily find the Spanish wines in mass here. Alvaro Palacios. You see that name on a wine list, you just know it's going to be amazing quality. So that's all I've got. I say that's all I've got. I've talked for like 15 minutes. So if you're still here with me, thank you for watching, and thank you for being part of this journey. You know, I encourage you to subscribe, because 96.75% of you are not subscribed, and it would mean a lot to me if you were. Let me know in the comments how you would attack this wine list. You know, was there a wine that I missed that you would choose? Yeah, we'll keep going on these. Next up is going to be the Capital Grille, their wine list, just by the glass selections. And you'll find out whether I love or hate wine lists on an iPad. I'll talk to you soon. Cheers, guys.